So for this week's video, we had to create and draw our own block diagram, and my block diagram includes an intrusive feature of a dike, which you can see right here. And so my block diagram that I created contains a total of 15 events, and with that there are 3 periods of erosion, 1 episode of tilting, and then the rest are labeled by letters right here. And so right now I'm going to give you some time to pause to figure out the order of these events from youngest to oldest. Okay, so now that you've had time to figure out the order, I'm going to explain the reasoning behind this order and go over the answer key right here. So I'm going to start up here at the youngest and then work my way down to the oldest events. And so the first event up here is erosion, and I know that this is like the newest and the youngest because it is on top of everything else. And this episode of erosion is followed by layer A, and using the law of superposition, I can tell this because it's on the top. The next event would be dike letter K, that's right here. And this is an igneous intrusion that goes through all of these layers right here. So we know that it is older or younger than all of these layers besides letter A. And then after K is layers B and C right here. And also using the law of superposition, I can figure out that B comes before or after C. And then after letter C, you can see that there is another episode of erosion right here. And then after this episode of erosion is fault letter J, which you can see right here. And this fault right here is a reverse fault because you can see that the hanging wall is moving up relative to the foot wall over here. And then after fault letter J, there is our 1 episode of tilting. And then using the law of superposition yet again, I can determine that the layers go from D, E, F, G, and then H is the oldest. And then the sequence of layers is followed by another on our last episode of erosion. And then lastly, we have our last layer, which is layer I right here, and that is the oldest layer in the sequence. And now just to go over it from oldest to youngest now. So the oldest is layer I, and then erosion, and then H, and then G, and then F, and then E, and then D, and then the tilt. And then the fault, and then the erosion, and then C, B, then dike K, and then A, and then lastly, the youngest is the erosion up here.